What up, YouTube? I'm not gonna do that again. No. Well, it's Tuesday, which means it's time to crank out another shitty video. So, my testosterone results came back. Total test is 595. Free test was 10. So I'm at a point where I don't need it, but I would benefit from it. And I've gone back and forth in my head talking about, you know, the pros and cons and this and that, and, you know, I think that I eventually will end up, you know, taking TRT, but I feel like 29 is still kind of early. And, you know, it's like $200 for 10 weeks, which isn't anything crazy, but that's a factor. And then, you know, having to pin myself twice a week, you know, it's inconvenient. And then if I go somewhere, if I'm traveling or whatever the fuck, I gotta take it with me and gotta keep up with it. And it sounds like a hassle. It doesn't sound completely necessary. And a lot of people talk about the benefits of, you know, they feel a lot better, they have more energy, libido, things like that. I don't have any of those problems. So for me, I'm really just looking at how it would increase my physical potential to carry lean mass, which is, let's get real, why I looked into it in the first place. So going back and forth, pros and cons, and I feel like some of the cons I'm just being a bitch about. You know, it's inconvenient. Is that something I should really even factor into my decision? Because it doesn't seem like it. Even though you have to take like PCT to get off, and it's not super easy to do. It's not difficult either. It's not like you're stuck on it forever. You still have options. And so I don't know. I'm gonna keep toying with this decision probably another week or so. I know how I'm leaning, but it's good to fully process what's going on and make sure I make the right decision, or at least make one that I'm comfortable with, and don't feel like I was hasty about it or whatever in hindsight. So I now have 7 subscribers, so whoever that number 7 was, thanks a lot. Welcome to the shit show. My weight is finally back up where it was before I started feeling shitty. I'm at 156 again. I'm gonna go test my max squat tonight. I've been leg pressing 270, so hopefully I can at least squat 225. We'll see what happens. I think today might be the day that I squat more than I bench. That's what I'm working towards, you know. Aside from that, everything's the fucking same old, same old. It's getting harder to keep my routine. My work schedule's changed to be earlier. I don't really know why things have gotten more difficult on my end, for me to wake up, for me to get in the gym. It just feels a lot harder than it did a couple weeks ago. I'm actually putting thought into it, whereas before that's just what I did. And that's not good, because it's not something I should even be thinking about. It'd just be my routine. Man, it's kind of odd sticking to something like these shitty YouTube videos for so long, even after you're like, man, this is, knowing this is something you would have talked yourself out of a long time ago. But sticking with it simply because you said you would. And not caring how much sense it makes at all. And not having any negotiations with yourself about whether you should continue. Because you already decided that you'd do it. But I think this is something that's necessary to practice and improve on that idea of not negotiating with myself after I set a goal. Being thorough about processing that goal and making sure it's what I want and it's realistic and this and that. But then once I set out on that, there's no room for further conversation about it with myself. Talking to my roommate last night. We've still got 9 months left on our lease, but we're both already getting kind of restless. We both moved back from Oklahoma to Florida a couple times. I think 3 times on my end. I think like 4 or 5 on his. Grass is always greener kind of bullshit. And this time we're talking about Colorado, talking about Boulder. Just torn with the idea, but it's also very realistic it could happen. And when we talk about the pros, cons of that, it's all pros, it all sounds awesome. But the same thing happens when we want to move back to Oklahoma, or when we want to move back to Florida, when we're living in Oklahoma. It seems like we just focus on things and create a bunch of positives, realistic or not, just to justify the fact that we want to move on and do something fun and have a new environment, new job, new people, excitement. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that, but it also is kind of goes against some of our goals. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens there. I guess I'll check in Friday and let you fuckers know what I decide about TRT and how I did in the squat rack and how my weight's doing, because that's all I've really got going for me right now. With my bills and the amount I'm making, I've got lower margins than I've ever had in my life. It really sucks. But going back to lifeguarding in the spring, that will completely change, because I'll get hella overtime. Adios, fuckers.